G'day mates, I'm going to just talk about the new 5.4 patch. I know it's been out for about a week now, just had some time to play around with it. If you haven't gotten a chance, there's some new content and new changes you should be aware of. If you raid, there's a new 14-man Siege of Ogrimmar. I didn't really care for it. They've also installed a new, like a flexible raid. So you can have not just 10 or 25-man raids, but you can have really any number, and then the bosses and loot just kind of scale with the quality of players you have. That's whatever. And there's a new area called the Timeless Isles, and there's a bunch of really cool loot for you to go around, do little quests. You get some really cool stuff. Some of the bosses they're a little hard if you're pretty undergeared, so make sure you have at least your gear ready. Let's see what else. The arena system. We're gonna start again in the PvP. The arena system has changed. You no longer need teams. Everything's gonna be just you, and you group up with 2, 3, or 5 people, and then when you queue up, it automatically knows it's going to compete you against that size of arena, and then all your ratings or whatever the player is. So they'll stay with you in a personal rating all the way to the end of the season to determine your rating and your mount, your title, all that jazz. Priest in general, let's see. Hymn of Hope. It'll be a lot more smarter. So just like it'll heal the people with the lower health first, and healers first, so it knows the important people, like healers, like I've always said. I might be a little biased on that one. Leap of Faith, you no longer have to be facing someone. So let's say this fella here, he's behind me and got him. He's probably pissed off because he was on someone, but whatever, just testing it out. Shadowwood, Death, and Pain have both had their damage increased, which is a good thing. Death is up 15% and Shadowwood Pain is 25%, so it's a good deal of damage for healers now. We can just cast a dot and do some pretty good damage. They'll take away. This guy's absorbing it, so it's not really fair. Discipline in general is pretty good buffs. Grace is no longer dispelled, so the buff we get from healing people, they'll stay on there and you can't dispel that. A Rapture as well will always energizes the priest for 100% of mana costs of the Powerwood Shield if it's consumed or dispelled. And it used to be 150%, so that's a slight. Nah, not really gonna notice that much. Spirit Shell also, if you look at it for the next 10 seconds, and that's down from 15 seconds. So you can cast it, you can't spam cast a bunch of heals anymore and give yourself a Gigantor bubble. And that's whatever, but it still lasts 15 seconds. The thing they changed about that, mainly in Battlegrounds, is it used to ignore battle fatigue, and now that will not be the case. That will scale as well. Holy, mainly the Holywood Sanctuary mana cost is reduced by nearly half, and it's smart healing as well, so it'll heal the ones with the weakest, the players with the lowest HP, and also the healers first. Light Spring is now baseline, called Light Well, and so all Holy Priests will have that now. You don't have to get anything special for that. And Serendipity's mana cost was reduced to 20% per stack instead of 10%. Shadow Form increases the priest's armor by 60%, so you can still take some damage, but you only get the benefit from the armor, not the overall shadow form, which reduced all damage taken by 15%, because they were their shadow priests were able to tank, which I guess was not very fair. And that's kind of more on scale with the druids and everyone else. Hunters. Apparitions are more like missiles now, they're not really creatures, so they can't fear them or whatever else. And Vampiric Touch does 20% more damage, which is kind of cool. They're trying to also buff up the talents, because right now there's pretty much set in which talents you choose if you're a priest at least. And it's mainly Angelic Feathers. The speed's increased to 80%, up from 60. And they have a world duration of 10 minutes instead of 5, so they last longer. Cascade now bounces 4 times instead of 3. Divine Star no longer has a DR, just like Halo no longer has a DR. Let's see, from Darkness Comes Light. The Discipline Holy also has a chance to activate on Penance, Circle of Healing, Prayer Mending, Prayer Healing. Shadow has a 20% chance to activate its effect on Shadow Priest. That's up from 15%. Mindbenders now deal 10% more damage, and the mana return has been increased to 20%, so you get a considerable amount of mana from Mindbenders, which is actually what I used to use, but I've been using Powerwood Solace, which gives you 1% every 10 seconds, which is actually quite nice. And Siphons no longer benefit from haste, so that's a slight decrease, but their health has been reduced by 75%. Discipline and Holy, there's a 2-piece set bonus. Holy Spark can no longer be dispelled, and that's pretty much when you cast Prayer of Mending, and then you cast Flash to Heal on them. It's actually 50% more healing, but that Grace is no longer, or the Holy Spark is no longer dispellable. Well, Holy Grace is no longer dispellable as well, which is really nice. And then the Shadow 4-piece, where you dispel Vampiric Touch, it fears everyone in an area of effect from the caster, and that is no longer the case. It'll just fear, I believe it'll just fear the guy himself. Can double check that. Yeah. Touch, dispel. The Dispeller is instantly feared horror for 3 seconds, and that's instead of AoE. Because like I said, it was a little overpowered. So that's pretty much the changes for. Looks like I've just been healing. Looks like we've already won. Got 3 maces, pretty nice. 3 cap. Alrighty, I'll let me log on my druid and I'll do some changes with that they've gone through.